What if I told you a Walmart shopping cart is actually longer than vehicles driving on public highways right now? Forget compact sedans. Today we are completely shattering your reality with the top 10 tiniest, most outrageously weird cars to ever exist on planet Earth. We are talking about street-legal micro-machines so impossibly small, pulling up next to a Ford F-150 will make you feel like you are sitting underneath its tires. From a three-wheeler that kickstarts like a dirt bike to a sci-fi pod that physically folds itself in half, these creations defy all logic. I guarantee our #1 spot will leave you absolutely speechless, so you must watch until the very end. If you crave pure automotive madness, smash that subscribe button right now and let's rev it up. Starting our list at number 10, we are heading straight to the narrow, sun-drenched streets of Italy with the Casalini Sulky. At first glance, this machine looks less like a car and more like a metal box that completely forgot how to grow up. Born in the vibrant era of 1971, the Sulky was designed as the ultimate solution for navigating tight European alleyways where normal cars simply could not fit. Visually, it is an absolute paradox. It has the squared-off, aggressive lines of a much larger vehicle, but it is shrunken down to a footprint barely wider than a standard household doorway. It is a three-wheeled box of pure quirkiness. Underneath that tiny, almost comical exterior lies a remarkably simple piece of engineering. The original Casalini Sulky was powered by a minuscule 50 cubic centimeter engine. Yes, you heard that right. That is the exact same engine displacement you would find in a teenager's low-speed scooter. Weighing practically nothing, this micro machine was never built to break any land speed records. Its top speed maxed out at a terrifyingly slow 25 miles per hour. Yet, it was completely street legal. Built by a company famous for mopeds, they simply decided to slap a roof and 3 wheels onto a scooter frame to keep riders out of the rain. Stepping into the driver's seat of the Sulky is an experience that instantly induces claustrophobia and adrenaline. You sit dangerously close to the windshield, and the steering feels incredibly twitchy. Imagine pulling up next to a massive Ford F-150 in this tiny metal box. The truck's tires are literally taller than your entire roofline. You feel entirely vulnerable, yet completely invincible because of how hilarious it is. Back in the day, these were just cheap, disposable transport. But today, finding a pristine Sulky can set you back thousands of dollars. But if you think the Sulky is small, just wait until you see the shrunken sedan at number 9. Rolling into the number 9 spot is a vehicle that genuinely looks like a classic 1950s sedan that was accidentally left inside a giant hot clothes dryer, the magnificent Goggomobil T250. Hailing from post-war Germany, this microscopic masterpiece is a perfect scale model of a traditional family car. It features an adorable little grille, perfectly proportioned pontoon fenders, and tiny hubcaps that gleam in the sun. It is a visual trick on your eyes. From 50 feet away, it looks like a normal vintage car, but as you walk closer, you realize it is significantly smaller than a modern riding lawnmower. The sheer audacity of this styling makes it absolutely fascinating. Do not let its adorable, toy-like appearance fool you because the engineering inside this tiny German capsule is dead serious. The Goggomobil T250 is powered by a rear-mounted 250 cubic centimeter two-stroke twin-cylinder engine that pumps out a verified 13.6 horsepower. Equipped with a 4-speed pre-selector gearbox, this little rear-wheel drive wonder could actually achieve a top speed of roughly 46 miles per hour. In a car that weighs only 915 pounds, 46 miles per hour feels like breaking the sound barrier. Hans Glas wanted to give the working class a real, fully enclosed automobile experience. Sitting in the Goggomobil is like stepping back in time into a luxurious, albeit microscopic, time capsule. You enter through suicide doors that open backwards, sliding into a surprisingly comfortable seat. But here is the massive shocker: the price. While originally designed as a cheap car for the masses, a fully restored Goggomobil T250 recently sold at auction for over $40,000. That is modern luxury car money for a vehicle with less horsepower than a riding mower. It is terrifying to drive in modern traffic, but the charm is unmatched. Think a shrunken sedan is weird. Wait until you see the electric refrigerator at number 8. Coming in hot at number 8 is a machine that completely shatters every single rule of automotive design, the Zagato Zele. If you know anything about cars, you know the name Zagato is usually associated with breathtaking million-dollar Aston Martins and Ferraris. But in the mid-1970s, during the peak of the fuel crisis, this legendary Italian design house built a literal fiberglass box. Visually, the Zele looks exactly like a vintage refrigerator tipped over onto 4 tiny shopping cart wheels. It is a perfect, uncompromising rectangle. There are no sweeping curves, no aerodynamic lines. It is just a blunt, brightly colored cube. The true shock of the Zele is not just its boxy shape, it is what lies underneath. Way before Tesla made electric vehicles cool, the Zagato Zele was a fully electric pioneer. It was powered by a standard electrical system using regular car batteries, paired with an industrial electric motor. Depending on the exact model, it had a top speed of roughly 25 miles per hour and a range of about 50 miles on a single charge. It featured a chassis derived from a Fiat 500 and a fiberglass body that kept the weight under 1,000 pounds. It was utterly brilliant for city commuting. Getting behind the wheel of the Zele is a completely bizarre experience. There is zero engine noise. You only hear the high-pitched hum of the electric motor beneath you. You sit bolt upright, staring out of completely flat glass panels. You feel every single bump in the road, and taking a sharp corner feels like you might physically tip the cube right over. Today, these rare electric boxes are incredibly highly sought after by collectors, with auction prices soaring past $15,000. Would you commute to work in an electric refrigerator? Let me know below, and stick around because car number 7 starts with a kick. At number 7, we journey to the United Kingdom to witness a true 3-wheeled anomaly, the Bond Minicar. If you saw this rolling down the street, your brain would completely short-circuit. The front end is dominated by a massively bulbous rounded hood that houses a single front wheel, while the rear looks like a standard small car. It resembles a bizarre metal tadpole that somehow escaped onto the public highway. The proportions are completely alien to modern American eyes, and the absolute lack of a fourth wheel makes it look perpetually off balance. Yet it possesses a rugged, post-war British charm that is impossible to ignore. The engineering behind the Bond Minicar is where things get truly unhinged. It was powered by a tiny motorcycle engine, usually around 197 cubic centimeters, mounted entirely on the single front fork. This meant the engine, transmission, and front wheel all turned together when you moved the steering wheel. The entire body was made of lightweight stressed aluminum, meaning some models weighed a mere 308 pounds. It was so light that if you got stuck in a tight parking spot, you could physically pick up the back end of the car and drag it around yourself. But the absolute most insane feature of the Bond Minicar is exactly how you turn it on. Forget turning a key or pushing a button. Early models required you to pop open the hood, reach down into the engine bay, and literally kickstart the engine like a dirt bike. Imagine standing in your driveway dressed in a business suit, kickstart your daily commuter car. Sitting inside, driving is a terrifying thrill ride. When you stop at a red light next to an F-150, your eye level is barely above the truck's lug nuts. If you think kickstarting a car is wild, prepare yourself for number 6. Brace yourselves for number 6, because the Mitsuoka MC1 completely blurs the line between a motor vehicle and a plastic toy from a fast food meal. Straight out of Japan, this microcar looks like a life-sized video game cart that somehow gained legal permission to drive on real roads. It is an ultra-minimalist, single-seat, open-air buggy made almost entirely of brightly colored plastic panels. There are no doors, no real roof, and absolutely zero modern safety features. Visually, it is so small and incredibly toy-like that if you parked it at a local playground, children would literally try to climb inside and play with the steering wheel. Despite looking like a child's plaything, the Mitsuoka MC1 is a highly engineered street-legal machine under Japanese microcar laws. It is powered by a tiny 50 cubic centimeter two-stroke engine that is the exact same power plant found in a typical commuter scooter. Weighing around 350 pounds, it features a basic continuously variable transmission, meaning you just mash the throttle pedal and hold on for dear life. It maxes out at roughly 30 miles per hour. Mitsuoka succeeded in creating the ultimate urban runabout by stripping away absolutely everything that was not strictly necessary to move a human forward. Driving the MC1 is an absolute sensory overload. You are entirely exposed to the elements, and the loud noise of the buzzing two-stroke engine echoes off the cars around you. It handles exactly like a go-kart. The steering is incredibly direct, and you feel dangerously close to the harsh pavement. When a massive semi-truck blows past you on the road, the wind displacement alone threatens to blow you into another dimension. Original retail price was surprisingly cheap, but importing one to the United States today will cost you thousands. Are you brave enough to take a plastic go-kart on the main road? Tell me below. Crashing into the number 5 spot is a vehicle that feels like it time-traveled straight from the year 2050, the Hiriko Fold. This Spanish-engineered marvel, developed in collaboration with brilliant minds at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, is a true bubble of glass and futuristic styling. Visually, it looks exactly like a sleek, high-tech pod designed for a lunar colony on Mars. It features massive panoramic glass windows and a rounded ultra-compact stance that is completely devoid of traditional car proportions. When fully extended, it is tiny, but its true visual spectacle is not realized until it actually parks. The technology packed into the Hiriko Fold is absolutely staggering. It is a fully electric vehicle featuring a revolutionary robot wheel system where each of the 4 wheels houses its own electric motor, steering actuators, and braking system. This means the car can literally drive sideways or spin in a perfect 360-degree circle on a dime. Weighing around 1,050 pounds, it was designed as a shared mobility platform, loaded with fly-by-wire steering technology. There is absolutely no mechanical linkage between the steering wheel in your hands and the tires on the pavement whatsoever. But here is the feature that will completely melt your brain. When you need to park, the Hiriko Fold literally folds its own chassis. The rear wheels slide forward, the cabin pitches upward into the sky, and the entire car shrinks to just 60 inches in length. You could easily park 3 of these vertically in a single standard American parking space. Sitting in the cabin as the car folds around you feels exactly like you are piloting a sci-fi transformer. The project unfortunately ran into massive financial trouble, making these prototypes incredibly rare unicorns today. Folding a car is genius, but check out the British microcar style at number 4. Taking the number 4 spot is absolute British automotive madness straight from the 1950s, the incredibly bizarre Frisky Family 3. If you thought the folding Hiriko was weird, the Frisky Family 3 looks exactly like a child's toy that an adult mistakenly scaled up. It is impossibly long, incredibly narrow, and features a tandem seating arrangement where the passenger sits directly behind the driver, straddling them just like on a motorcycle. The bodywork is gorgeous, sweeping aluminum, but the proportions are so outrageously skinny that it looks like it defies the laws of physics just by standing still. This incredible machine was the brilliant brainchild of a British mechanic named Meadows Frisky. Powering this aluminum torpedo is a robust 197 cubic centimeter engine, providing enough thrust to make this ultra-lightweight dart genuinely terrifying to pilot at high speeds. It utilized a traditional manual gearbox and a chain drive connected to the rear wheels. Weighing less than 500 pounds, the engineering challenge was very clear. Meadows Frisky wanted a car that could navigate the heavily congested streets of Great Britain and, more importantly, be parked absolutely anywhere. And that leads us to its insane secret weapon. When you arrive home, you pull a massive lever inside the cockpit, and the front wheels of the Frisky physically unlatch and fold completely inward, tucking themselves directly under the nose. The car's width shrinks so drastically that you can literally roll it right through a standard front door and park it inside your hallway. Imagine the sheer shock of your guests seeing a car parked right next to the coat rack. Today, only a handful of Frisky vehicles exist, making them priceless museum pieces. Wait until you hear the massive V-twin roaring at number 3. Roaring into the top 3 is a machine that completely rejects modern technology and embraces pure, unadulterated danger, the modern Morgan three-wheeler. This is not a cute microcar, this is a British steampunk missile. Visually, it is an absolute masterpiece of aggressive retro design. Shaped exactly like an artillery shell, it features a beautifully crafted aluminum tub, massive wire-spoke wheels, and an open cockpit wrapped in premium leather. It looks just like a classic 1920s race car that has been completely resurrected to terrorize modern streets, turning absolutely every single head as it aggressively rumbles past you. But the absolute craziest visual and mechanical element of the Morgan is its massive engine. Instead of safely hiding the power plant under a hood, Morgan took a huge 2-liter S&S V-twin motorcycle engine and bolted it entirely outside, hanging off the very front of the car. Pumping out 82 horsepower to a single massive rear tire via a 5-speed manual transmission, this 1,150-pound torpedo rockets from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 6 seconds. It is a beautiful mechanical symphony of exposed pushrods and raw, burning exhaust heat. Sliding into the incredibly tight cockpit of the Morgan three-wheeler is an unforgettable event. You hit the starter button hidden under a military flip-up bomb release switch, and the massive V-twin erupts violently. Driving it feels exactly like flying a vintage Spitfire fighter plane at ground level. You feel the wind ripping past your face and the entire chassis vibrating with every single piston stroke. If a massive F-150 pulls up, you do not feel small. You feel like a heavily armed rogue pilot. And the price for this raw adrenaline? A cool $50,000 to start. Prepare for maximum G-force at number 2. Stealing the number 2 spot is a vehicle that literally bends the laws of physics on every turn, the Carver One. Hailing from the Netherlands, the Carver One looks like a futuristic escape pod straight from a Hollywood sci-fi blockbuster. It is sleek, highly aerodynamic, and impossibly tall and narrow. Sitting on 3 wheels, it has a fully enclosed jet fighter-style glass canopy. Visually, it commands total attention, not just because it is tiny, but because it looks like it belongs on a high-speed racetrack in the year 2100. It is the ultimate hybrid between a motorcycle and a sports car. Powering this Dutch masterpiece is a 660 cubic centimeter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine mounted in the rear, pushing out 68 horsepower. While that does not sound massive, it propels the incredibly lightweight Carver to a verified 115 miles per hour. But the engine is not the real star of the show here. The Carver One is equipped with a patented dynamic vehicle control system. This insane hydraulic and mechanical computer system actively monitors your speed and steering input, making this one of the most technologically advanced micro machines ever produced for the open road. Here is exactly where the magic happens. When you turn the steering wheel into a fast corner, the entire front cabin of the Carver One physically tilts and leans into the turn up to an astonishing 45 degrees, exactly like a superbike. The rear engine and wheels stay perfectly flat on the ground while you are practically scraping your elbow on the hot asphalt. The G-forces are absolutely incredible. The feeling of dogfighting through mountain canyons, leaning into corners like a fighter jet while heavy trucks lumber straight ahead, is an adrenaline-fueled driving experience money simply cannot buy anywhere else. And finally, claiming the ultimate number 1 spot on our list of the weirdest and tiniest cars is a machine built for pure weaponized speed, the Vanderhall Venice. Built right here in the United States, in Provo, Utah, the Venice is an absolute menace on 3 wheels. Visually, it is breathtaking. It seamlessly combines vintage Formula One aesthetics with modern, aggressive styling. With a wide, menacing front stance, exposed front suspension, and a gorgeous composite body sweeping back to a single massive rear wheel, it looks like a predator ready to pounce. It is incredibly low, dripping with pure attitude. While it is technically classified as an autocycle, the brilliant engineering makes it a genuine supercar slayer on a tight canyon road. Tucked tightly under its sleek hood is a modern 1.5-liter turbocharged inline-4 engine, pumping out a ferocious 194 horsepower. Connected to a lightning-fast 6-speed automatic transmission and weighing around 1,400 pounds, the Vanderhall Venice completely obliterates the 0-60 sprint in a terrifying 4.5 seconds. It features advanced pushrod suspension, massive disc brakes, and a stiff chassis tuned for absolute surgical driving precision. Getting behind the steering wheel of the Venice is pure, unfiltered euphoria. There are no doors. You simply step right over the side and drop down into the heated leather seats. When you smash the gas pedal, the turbo spools with a deafening hiss, and the brutal acceleration physically pins you back into the seat. You are so low to the ground that the lane lines blur into a solid white stripe. This time, when you pull up next to a massive Ford F-150, you are not terrified. They are looking down at you in absolute awe and jealousy. And there you have it, folks. From the utterly bizarre folding Frisky Family 3 to the turbocharged terror of the Vanderhall Venice, these top 10 weirdest and tiniest cars completely prove that massive thrills can come in the absolute smallest, craziest packages. Which one of these insane machines would you actually park in your very own garage? I really need to know your #1 top pick down in the comments below. If your mind was blown by these incredible micro machines today, obliterate that subscribe button, hit the bell icon for more automotive madness, and I will see you in the next video.